Can you hear? Good evening, everyone. It is Wednesday, September 4th, 2019, and I want to welcome everyone to the Sacramento Local Agency Formation Commission. At this time, I'm calling the meeting to order, and I'll ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Commissioner Keno? Here. Greenwood?
Here.
Ashby? Here. Frost?
Here.
Little?
Here.
Cerna?
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting of the Local Agency Formation Commission is cablecast live on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on Comcast, Consolidated Communications, and AT&T Uverse. The meeting is also webcast at sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will be repeated Friday, September 6 at 2 p.m. and Sunday, September 8 at 9 a.m. on Channel 14. This meeting is also closed captioned. We ask that you would please turn off your cell phones and noise devices, and there are speaker slips in the back of the room. If you would like to speak, please fill them out and hand them to the clerk. Thank you. And at this time, I believe we do have a couple of public speakers for items that are not on the agenda. If you wish to address an item not on the agenda, go ahead and fill out a form, but I'll first call Lynn Wheat to the podium, followed by Suzanne Pecci. Did I say it right? Hi, Lynn.
Good evening. My name's Lynn Wheat, and I'm a resident of Elk Grove, so I drove down here this evening to just request that maybe that there can be some email notification as to when these meetings occur. I have been watching most of the summer to see if you were having meetings, and then the thought came to me this afternoon, oh, they might be having a meeting tonight. So this was my first time to have the opportunity to look at the agenda and also the attachments, and unfortunately, a couple of the attachment for the grand jury response was not there. And then also there wasn't a listing of the people that would be possible candidates for the positions that are empty that you're looking at. The special districts were listed, but I didn't see the candidates. So if in the future we could have the candidates listed along with an ability to be notified when your meetings are occurring, especially if you should have a special meeting that's outside of that first Wednesday of the month, I most certainly would appreciate it, as I'm following on what's going on in LAFCo, especially with Elk Grove having so many applications out. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. We did public notice this meeting, though. So
Yes, we did.
She's asking for something in addition to public
She
notice?
requested an email, and it's also listed on our website 3 weeks in advance.
Okay.
And
can you sign up for an email reminder at LAFCo's website?
I don't really have a list, but we could put her on a list.
No, I don't think we do special emails. I just didn't know if there was an automatic reminder set up. If there's not, that's fine.
We keep it on our website.
Okay. Okay.
There is an active link on the website, www.saclafco.org, that any member interested party can click and directly send an email to the clerk's mailbox. Myself and Diane both have access to that. And if there is time sensitive, we do check that out regularly. So that's one recommendation. But we have had an irregular schedule this summer other than the July recess. So I think diligence is a watchword for everyone.
Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's okay.
Okay.
We can talk afterwards, Lynn. Afterwards, you can talk with our clerk and work out that arrangement. Okay, and Suzanne Pecci. Oh, I'm sorry. Supervisor Cerna had something to say.
Yeah, thank you. So you mentioned that the agendas are posted 3 weeks in advance of every meeting? Is that
Yes.
That's standard practice, right?
Yes.
And is that's over and above what's statutorily required in terms of noticing?
That's for LAFCo law.
So
But
LAFCo
what
law
do you- yeah.
requires
3
a
weeks,
minimum
21
of three,
days.
minimum
21
of 3
days.
weeks?
Yes.
Not the 72 hours that govern
At the
most,
county,
most
yeah.
other
Changes can be made
public
up
meetings.
till that time, but
The point I'm making is that you actually get a much greater lead time with this agency in terms of the posting of its agenda versus, say, Board of Supervisors or probably City Council, I'm guessing as well. And so, that should be taken into consideration as well in terms of kind of some fair lead time for the public to understand what's going to be before this body. So just want to
And
point that
as
out.
a general rule, we approve a schedule ahead of time, so you can also include that in your calendar that ahead of time. Okay, Suzanne Pecci, please.
So I would like to echo some of Lynn's concerns, and while I concur with your statement, Commissioner Cerna, with respect to the advance notice, if the attachments aren't included with the agenda, it really leaves the public that is interested in the proceedings
Yeah, that's a different
at a
issue.
loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and I have talked to Mr. Lockhart about that in the past, and I was on an email list for a time on some of the LAFCo meetings that I requested notice on and attachments. So I think that would be helpful because there are public members that are interested. And I'm speaking tonight because I am a member of 2 special districts, and your agenda tonight is really about special districts. I'm in the Omochimis-Hartnell Water District. I am running for office as a director on that board, as an ag-res member, and it will be the first election since 1975. And so I do have an interest in being involved, and I think LAFCo has oversight over these districts, and I would appreciate as much information as possible in order to be apprised of the ongoing committee meetings and the advisory capacity of LAFCo. I'm also on RD 800. In the Omochimis-Hartnell Water District. So I really do want to be more informed, and I think that you are the agency that is charged with doing that. And I would appreciate in the future to put these attachments on, also the candidates for office. It would have been nice to know who was running because I have been going to meetings for 4 years. I'm very much aware of the people that go to the meetings, the directors that are in these special districts, and I might have a comment or two on who the candidates might be, and I don't have that opportunity without having the names in advance.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask our clerk to just, did you have something to say regarding?
The candidate
Protocol.
period is still open until September 19th.
Okay.
And the candidates are selected, they're not elected, but they're selected by the special districts. And a ballot, as soon as the nomination period closes, that will be announced. So there's, prior to the closing of the nomination period, they're not announced.
Okay, thank you.
Be on the website, LAFCo website then, I guess that's the question.
We can put it on the website for the special districts.
September, that will be prior to your next meeting, and if you could post that, that would be helpful.
Okay, well, you can work with her offline to let her know where those will be listed, whether it's in the special district's website, or I'm assuming that the special districts will also have it listed in theirs, but maybe you guys can connect. Okay, Madam Clerk, will you please read the next item?
The next item is the consent calendar, items 1 through 3.
Okay, do we have?
I can move adoption of consent.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved by Director Aquino and seconded by Director Greenwood. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, before we do that, Supervisor Cerna had a comment?
I'm just going to abstain on the approval of the minutes.
Okay. With Supervisor Cerna abstaining, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And next item, please.
Next item is item number 4, Independent Special District Commissioner and Alternate Commissioner Selection Process.
Okay, Mr. Lockhart.
We've already broached this topic just recently with the public comments, so that's helpful to break the ice there. This is more a matter that the commission does not have a role in the appointment, as the clerk pointed out, the selection of the special district representation. That's strictly amongst the independent special districts who are involved with the 1/3 funding formula for your commission. Just to remind the public, the funding for the commission is 1/3 provided by the counties, 1/3 by all cities, including with the caveat of 1/2 of that is from the city of Sacramento. And then the 70-plus special districts, they contribute to 1/3 of the half of which is that's contributed by SMUD because of the size of their operation. So out of the pool of independent special districts, you may recall we made an announcement when we last met during the summer that this period was going to be opening up. I wanted to get back with you, with the commission, just to kind of update you. It's good to see that there is public interest, and thus far we've received 4 nominations. The nominations have to come from the Independent Special Districts Board of Directors. So we've received 4 nominations of interest, all 4 of which have expressed interest in the primary seat, which would be Commissioner Greenwood's seat, and then 2 of those candidates is also checked off. You may recall the alternate special district commissioner, Paul Green, resigned in good standing, so he has 2 years left on his. The other seat has 4 years. It'll be a new term. So we wanted to get the commission back to a whole as soon as we could. So with your direction, from the last time we met, the clerk has combined those 2 questions onto 1 ballot, and we will be processing through. But thus far, as I said, we've received 4 total, 2 of whom expressed an interest in the alternate as well as the primary. So the nominations are due. Again, this has to come from the independent board of the various special districts, have to be into the LAFCo offices by September 19th at 4 p.m. At that time, the commission clerk will certify the adequacy of the submittal, the signatures, what have you. Turn around and send out those nominations to the independent special districts, not to members of the public. They can be posted on our website, and we'll make it clear there that this isn't an open election, but these are candidates who are running. I think more information, that's the benefit of having the website. The nomination period, again, now the votes will be made by the Independent Special District Board in open session, and the ballots will be due back from the special districts by November 15th at 4 p.m. We'll tally up the numbers, and a simple majority wins either seat. So 50% plus 1. There's not a runoff procedure. The Special District Advisory Committee about 5 years ago restructured the nomination process to make it a winner-take-alls simple majority process in the interest of expediency and conservation of some of the commission resources. So in a nutshell, that's the process that's before the special districts. And that party, our target is to accommodate the traditional January recess when the commission goes dark, and have the special district representatives prepared to take their seats, take their office. It'll be effective January 1, and they will assume their role actively at that time, but the first meeting will be in February. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions of the commission.
We also have 2 public comments. Do any members have questions or comments? Okay, at this time, I'm going to invite Lynn Wheat, followed by Suzanne Pecci.
Good evening. I want to thank staff for explaining all of that, because then this makes my comment much shorter, understanding the procedures around this. But I think I need to add some clarity to what I was requesting. Like, for instance, in the city of Elk Grove, if I want to know when council meetings are coming up, I can get an email alert. They have the capacity within their system to do that. I can do it for planning commission meetings. I can do it for any meetings. With the county, with Sacramento County, I'm able to do that. So I can get notifications of when the SAM board's meeting. So I guess what I'm not understanding is this is another government agency that and you represent the residents and citizens of this area, that how come it's not possible within the LAFCo network to be able to do that, to sign up for email alerts so then it goes out? That's all I was asking. So I think that I just wasn't explaining what my request was. So I'm sorry I didn't explain it well enough.
I think that's a reasonable request, and maybe we can just explore it. I don't know if we have that capacity or that capability, but maybe we can explore what our website can do. And
We can certainly look into that with our web team.
thank you. And Suzanne?
So again, my comments are on special districts, and I've done an awful lot of studying on them in the last 4 years, because I am in these special districts, and most people in special districts in my area within the boundaries of OHWD do not understand that they're in this special district. They don't understand that they're being assessed, that their property, through property taxes, they don't understand that these special districts can increase the fees they're already paying. And it's been really my thought to at least be involved as a special member that can pass some of the information along. And I'm just requesting again on this, on the pool of candidates, that this information be as transparent as possible. These are special districts that were set up for the people to serve the special needs of the people within that district. And so the information on the candidate pool, on how the votes are going to be counted, on the advisory committee, how it's going to be set up, these advisory committees should be open to the public, because once again, these are special districts that are set up for the public. And so I'm requesting that LAFCo really look into this, to really bend over backwards for the few of us that have become involved in these districts, and really help us to be involved in them as members of the district. I'd like you to have as much on your website as possible about the voting, the balloting, who the candidates are, what their qualifications are, because there are directors in my district that live in other counties, and they're going to be voting on the needs of the people in my district that live there. So I really think, really would like to put the burden on LAFCo staff, and I know you're understaffed, I get that, to do as much as possible to educate the public about special districts that they're living in. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that brings us back to our item. There is no action on this item. It was informational. Unless anyone has any questions or comments, we will move on to then the next item, please.
Next item is item number 5, 2019 County Grand Jury Report response.
Okay, Mr. Lockhart.
This item is also for information of the commission. We do respectfully request that you direct us to proceed in responding to the grand jury. The grand jury has extended to your commission an invitation, not a mandate, but an invitation to respond to their recent report that was issued for last fiscal year, 18-19. They looked into various different matters. The one that they circled back to Sacramento LAFCo on is dealing with the Florin Resource Conservation District, which is also the Florin Elk Grove Water District is nested within the boundary of the Florida Resource Conservation District. The Resource Conservation District is an independently duly elected independent district. Your commission has no authority over independent districts that are independently elected. They answer to their constituencies. In talking with the grand jury, we did send them a letter in January to clarify where the parameters of LAFCo's authorities begin and end, as well as our ongoing communications with both the Florida Resource Conservation District and the Elk Grove Water District, as well as the 70-plus other special districts we work with. The special district in question they were given quite a few points to respond to. And I've talked with their general manager. He's prepared, I believe they took it to their board a week or so ago, prepared their comments. It doesn't really touch on anything to do with LAFCo. It's an issue between the grand jury and that district. One of the things I did speak to the general manager of Florida Resources about was the next item on your agenda is dealing with municipal service reviews. That is very much the purview of your commission, is to do the assessments of the operations. We can make recommendations out of that, but we can't do mandates out of that process. But it is a good way to engage the public and generally put a light on operations that some folks, as has been mentioned this evening, may not be fully aware of. That's that element of representative government. So Mark Madison, the GM, has agreed to work with myself to essentially refresh their resource conservation district / water district municipal service review. We'll bring it up to date. We'll bring it in draft form to your commission for consideration. Take your direction as how to proceed. Whether we generally always post those on our website so that the public can be aware of what the operations are looking like and can give us input. So that's a part of our process as well. So what I'd ask for again this evening from the commission is just we've attached our response for the current invitation to the meeting, essentially reiterating that we've given you a comment grand jury in January, and we feel that that's adequate. And with that, we're happy to submit this on behalf of the commission to the grand jury.
Okay, and so at this time, I do not have any requests for comments, and so I do have one speaker, Suzanne Pecci.
So, with respect to the grand jury report, part of the report is speaking to directors that really don't live within the Elk Grove Water District boundaries. They live in the rather arcane, larger boundaries of Florin RCD, which is served by, I guess, Sacramento County Water. And they really the report speaks to the representation by people that are not living in the district, because Elk Grove Water District recently went through a rate study and increased fees. And I guess the question that I would have as a member of a special district is, why would people that don't live in the district, one of them is an ag-res owner outside the district, not even on municipal water, and one lives outside the district, why would they even have an interest in being on the board? They're not representing the special needs of the people in that special district. So that's part of it, is representation. And I think that all of this can be looked at perhaps in this advisory committee that is forming with special districts, because I think that there are some issues with Elk Grove Water District that it appears that Florin RCD has relinquished its position pretty much as an RCD and is only doing the bidding of Elk Grove Water. So I think that there are some things that we really need to talk about publicly. It's all been kind of quiet and it's all been under the wire, but there are members of the public that are affected by this. And I think that we need to address it publicly. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I guess we need a consensus just to give direction regarding issuing the response to the grand jury.
Correct. The response is due by the end of September.
Okay, so seeing no questions and no opposition, I'm assuming that means consensus, board? So you have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 6, LAFCo Board of Directors nominations.
These are a couple of items I brought to your commission. Again, these are time sensitive that have to be wrapped up or moved ahead to LAFCo, the statewide organization your commission belongs to. They need to have this information by the end of September as well. One of the items is on the regional board, there are 2 vacancies of this statewide regional board. We are in the central region, Sacramento LAFCo, and there's a public member seat open. There's a city member seat open. Both of those incumbents are ones from the city member, I believe, is from Fresno, and the public members from Calaveras County. They've both been very active. It's my understanding from talking to staff at LAFCo, they expect that they will be putting their hat in the ring to run again. So the commission at this time is welcome to talk among yourselves, and if any of the commissioners in those categories, city or public, would like to be put forward, this would be an appropriate time to make that point. The second item deals with the conference. The statewide conference is coming up at mid-late October. So actually going to be in Sacramento this year. And Gay Jones will be there. One of your commissioners, she sends her apologies that she's not able to attend this evening, but she has agreed that she would represent your commission's interest as the voting delegate at the annual conference. So that would be her responsibility, that the action of your commission this evening, if there is a nomination, I would convey that to Commissioner Jones, and as well as confirm to LAFCo, if it's the pleasure of your commission, that Gay be your voting delegate, so that she will have all the paperwork necessary to exercise that role. And then one last piece of housekeeping is the board has spent the LAFCo board has spent the last 2 years forming ad hoc committees, in-house financial committee, to address their ongoing resources as far as their budget allocations. One of the difficulties is by structure, unlike special districts perhaps or cities, there's 58 counties, so that's pretty much the membership cap for LAFCo. And some of the counties are in a budget situation far different from other counties. So there's constantly a balancing act going between who pays what and how is equity maintained throughout the organization to maintain high level of participation. And that having that high level of participation serves the commission in that it gives more credibility to LAFCo's efforts to talk to folks about pending legislation, that sort of thing. LAFCo is not a lobbying organization, it's an educational organization, so it's very important to maintain that distinction. But they do have, they've worked hard to raise their profile so that they can have the conversations where people are, a lot of times there's interesting ideas that are put forward by the legislature to fix one problem in one county, and then they may manifest themselves into the state law that would then apply statewide. And that's not really a very effective way to go forward in operations. So with those 3 points, if there's any board nomination that the commission wants to put forward, designate Commissioner Jones as the voting delegate, and if you have a position of support, position of non-support, or no position at all for the budget, I will convey all of that information to LAFCo.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments? Basically, I guess we need to know if any one of our public or city representatives would like to serve on LAFCo, and this would be running in an election for the
Correct.
position. So
Correct.
that would be Director Ashby, Director Aquino, Director Little? No? Greenwood?
But you say the representatives we have now in the central region are willing to serve again?
Yes, ma'am. That's my understanding.
Okay. And
Okay,
they,
so we do not have anyone interested in filling a new position, and Gay is already in her position, and it's nice of her to be the voting member because that means she stays to the very end, which is a commitment. And so that brings us, do we need to vote on all these separately, or can we vote on all of them at one time?
I would just move staff's recommendation if you're in support of them, and just be done with a voice vote.
Okay, do we have a? Second. And your motion is to support staff's?
Staff recommendation.
Okay, so motion by Director Cerna, second by Director Little, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We started with voice and ended with this, so I guess we're
Hybrid.
switching over. Thank you. Next item, please.
Next item is item number 7, municipal service review, refresh work plan.
Your commission may recall, we discussed this matter with the June agenda when we were adopting the final budget for the current fiscal year. We have completed the, if you will, first round of municipal service reviews for all municipal providers in the county. So this is an opportunity for us now to work with the districts and go back and ask them, and the way we do collaborate, to refresh their information for us as far as their current budget information. Some folks have retired, or general managers, that sort of thing. So just essentially refining what's already there, and if there are issues that are of a greater magnitude, then we will be able to daylight those as well through this process. One of the things we do recommend is, we're in the process right now with Rancho Murrieta Community Services District, so I would keep them on the top of the list. We haven't completed their MSRs yet, so we're working with them and hope to have that back before your commission before the end of the calendar year. We talked a little bit already about Farm Resource Conservation District, Elk Grove Water Service, and they're expecting and they're ready to work with us to move ahead. We've also heard from constituents in the Del Paso Manor Water District. There's been some changes there in personnel as well as representation. So I have spoken with the newly appointed, I believe he's an interim general manager, and let him know that this matter is going to be for your commission this evening, and he's prepared to work with myself and others to refresh his municipal service review. So those 3 right there at the top of the plate. And then we did, I got a recent email from Fulton El Camino Recreation and Park District. They have their own volition and good citizenship. They went ahead and have revisited their MSR and sent it to me over the weekend. So I haven't had a chance to look at it, but that could well be moved up the list a little bit. We'll see how that effort looks for right now. So that would I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is a refresh quite a bit less expensive than a full MSR?
Typically, we don't charge the districts because they're contributing agencies. If there is a large project, like a large annexation to a city where we have to kind of go A to Z of services, then we do seek cost recovery from the annexing, either the landowner developers, applicants, or the affected city. So from my standpoint, it would be less labor intensive than starting from scratch to do these. And that's why I'm using the term refresh. I'm not saying it's not a brand new look, because I think the commission's done a good job of covering the municipal service array countywide. And so we're just going back through and seeing whose story has changed, what needs to be updated. Maybe some of these things, maybe some of this are just fine as they are.
Timeline?
Well, as I say, we're Rancho Murrieta, we want to get back before you soonest. So that would be ideally fall, November latest. Working now with the Resource Conservation District has already provided, as I said, their response to the grand jury. So I want to let that dust settle a little bit, and then work with them to revisit theirs. So that they would be next in line. And then we're also going to work with the Del Paso Manor Water District. I'm planning on meeting with. I've already met with a couple of the general managers, but I'll be meeting with the Del Paso interim director probably in the next couple of weeks and get a feel for. He's kind of still learning where the light switches are out there, so he needs to see what wants to get a feel for what is out there for his own operations. And I think in speaking with him, he saw an opportunity in refreshing this MSR to maybe educate him and the community on what's going on.
It's good. Okay, we do have 2 public comments on this, and I am going to invite Carl Dolk.
Good evening. My name is Carl Dolk. I'm a resident of Del Paso Manor Water District. My wife and I have lived there for 30 years now. It's a great community, but there's a saying, whiskey is for drinking and water is for fighting. And 2 years ago, our neighborhood was divided over a proposed rate increase on water. Many of us, myself included, were in favor of this rate proposal. In fact, we're spoiled. We have no meters. We only have 1,800 ratepayers. My monthly bill is $70 per month flat. We're actually billed every other month, $140 for 2 months. So we're spoiled, and a lot of people did not want any kind of a rate increase. Yet, we were developed post-World War II, and the pipes are anywhere from 60 to 70 years old, and according to the people who work on them, they're due for replacement. The previous board that was tried to pass this, and they actually pulled it back. They knew that the community was not behind it. They tried to revise the master plan. The master plan has not been revised, I believe, since 2005. And it's very critical to see where are we headed. Can we afford to replace these pipes? You're talking 1,800 ratepayers. Is it feasible? Do we need consolidation? We prefer not to be consolidated, but reality may be that we may need to be. And so a master plan is very necessary to be revised so we can see what needs to be done. Right now, we have no roadmap to our future. And so I respectfully request that you do support an MSR for Del Paso Manor Water District. And I do want to, in fairness to the current board, they're doing the best they can. But I think they're missing the big picture. They're focusing on housekeeping matters, which are necessary, but the infrastructure is the big thing that we need to deal with. And so I think they need to go in that direction. I do want to give you a revision. This letter that you have in front of you was written weeks prior to this meeting. They had a board meeting last night, and they did approve a budget. So that's the change there. Thank you.
Thank you. And Suzanne?
So with respect to the refresh of the municipal services review. When I looked at the latest municipal services review for Florin RCD, it seemed pretty much that Florin was a dead horse. And this past year, when they abdicated their role as an RCD to become pretty much a servant to Elk Grove Water District's water supply needs, they pretty much became defunct as an RCD. So I think it's generous of LAFCo to offer this refresh, and I would request that in this refresh that you keep the grand jury's comments and report in mind, because I think they're very cogent to the operation of Elk Grove Water District and exactly what it is. I think it was Director Mulberg that made a comment a couple of meetings ago that Elk Grove Water District was in fact an aberration, when in fact my opinion would be that it's Florin RCD that's the aberration. And what we have left is really a board of directors that is pretty much a front for Elk Grove Water District to maintain its public agency name, when in fact I think if you look deeper, and maybe that's what the grand jury is doing, looking deeper, and maybe in fact Elk Grove Water District should be under the PUC as a private water district. So I think these are things that the grand jury report has brought up, and when you look at this MSR, I would request that you address some of these concerns, because they are of concern to the people that are within that district. And also, I'm asking that the reports that were a part of this meeting, SCWA's comments to the grand jury report, LAFCo's comments to the grand jury report, be made public. These are your public agency, it's a public agency that you're commenting on that serves the people. So again, I'm requesting transparency, and I'm requesting that these reports all be public so all of us can read them. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, our job is to direct staff to proceed, and I believe we're all in agreement, and therefore, I think we're ready to move forward with the refreshes. I submitted a card. I'm sorry, I didn't see one. Can you? Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. It's okay. Come on down, Lynn.
Okay, I am within the Elk Grove Water District, and our rates did go up, and I felt the whole process was pretty misleading because they led us to believe that some of the rates would go down. But my concern is when I look at the big picture, Elk Grove Water District is very small compared to the areas that FRCD encompasses. And within our city, we now have some people that were working down in Stockton when they privatized the water. And I feel like there's not been a lot of transparency going on between our city and Elk Grove Water District and some of the annexations that will be proposed in the future and where the water will be coming from. So as we look at this, I really need to believe that we need to consider what is the role of FRCD. Are they just a water agency, or are they still functioning as what they were supposed to function? Because what I'm really concerned about is as the city expands, which they plan on doing, for instance, the residents within the city have had to pay up front the infrastructure out into the SEPA area, and the city will only be reimbursed once development occurs. If this is the same situation with the water, then 12,000 residents that live within that Elk Grove Water District are going to be paying for that infrastructure out to the new areas. So there's a bigger picture involved in just doing a refresh. So again, I hope that you will take a look at those grand jury comments, because I really do think that they're relevant. And I appreciate this opportunity to come down and speak to you about something that I'm very passionate about and very concerned about the future of our South County. Thank you.
I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight to share your thoughts with us, and that's what makes government work better, is when we know how people are thinking, and you give us a heads up on things sometimes that we're not aware of. So thank you very much for being here in the evening on a Wednesday night. And so with that, I believe we have consensus to move forward with the refresh. Oh, yes, Director Greenwood.
If I may, tonight we've had two people come to us regarding water issues within their respective districts, actually 3 people. Thank you all 3 for coming too, by the way. Mr. Delk, you are a neighbor. I'm Carmichael Water District Director. I'm very aware of what's been going on over there, and thank you for sharing that and enlightening us. I think I know our staff needs to really take this seriously. I think some things are being overlooked there, and both issues are dealing with issues that are having to do with possible consolidations and or the issues, certainly the issues with regard to infrastructure. And infrastructure is a critical part of water, safe water, dependable water supply and delivery service, and we've got to take that into consideration. Elk Grove, I understand your situation too. It just seemed like this is an oddity. It's the only place in the state where this kind of situation exists. And again, I ask the staff, since I'm going to be a short time here, that we look at that going forward. I know at the Regional Water Authority, we've even addressed the issue in Regional Water RWA exec about the areas of consolidations. With over 20 water agencies in our region, there are some places where it makes sense, and I have a feeling going down the road we're going to be a part of that, a very integral part of that, and I empower the entire commission going forward that take this act seriously. This is something that we need to deal with. We know, God forbid, I don't think we have anything like a Flint, Michigan, but we definitely do not want to have anything bad happening for our people and the people we serve. I just had to make that comment, and I thank you for allowing me to do that.
I'm glad you did. Thank you, Director Greenwood. Okay. With that, I believe we're ready to move forward with the MSR refresh plan. And at this time, do we have any questions or announcements from our executive officer?
I would just remind the commission that the statewide LAFCo conference is next month, October, end of October, and it's at the Hyatt downtown. If you're interested in attending, you can buy partial access by the day, or if you want to stay over, you just let us know. Diane can help you out with that. But it's a very nice opportunity to have it right in our backyards.
Okay, thank you. Any comments from board members? It is 6:17, and this meeting's adjourned. Didn't quite make it.
You bet on health.